Hello everyone. Sorry it's been like a month. I really stupidly didn't pre-film anything and then went on holiday. I've just started this YouTube channel, but I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent. So please stick around. I'm going to try to do some more interesting videos, and I thought do a very, very long overdue flip through of my A-level art sketchbooks. If you don't know, I've just finished first year of uni, so yeah, I'm a bit behind, but hopefully you still enjoy. Hopefully it gives you guys some ideas if you're doing your A-levels now, and I just want to say you've got this. Yeah, let me just show you what I've got. I know people have got like mock grades coming back if you're in year 12. If you're year 13, you might have just finished, so congrats. But this is the first page I've got, and I did Edexcel, so obviously like not this year, but year before and year before that. And I did my whole start of the project on interiors, so I've got my friends' bedrooms painted here. I can't remember the exact name of the topic, so apologies, but there I've got photos and then sketches like that. And then I've just got some collages inspired by this, so it's quite good to have some different techniques when you're like in the starting phase of your project. Just show some different ideas, ways of working. So here's like a little model of a bedroom, and then I've got a digital drawing as well, and then I've got some charcoal studies, and try and write down what you're focusing on. So if I'm focusing on light and shadow, then that's quite good just to have some studies of that. I've got some pen and wash ones. This is new to me as well, it's a refresher because this is from a while ago. I quite like these ones actually, just some quick drawings. It's sometimes nice just to switch up the speed that you do your drawings. You can have some like 5-minute studies. Here I've just got some plain line art, which I then used in Photoshop. You'll see throughout my project I really like combining physical and digital media. So I've got all my textures that I've scanned in, and then I use them to, let me see, I photoshopped them with the first bit to do this. This is not the best photoshopping skills, but I think I was just practicing different textures. Yeah. I really like pattern making, so I've got some patterns that I made physically. So I can actually do a video on how to make patterns like this and another separate video. And then I've got some plants like this. So this is just from the botanics. So it's also good to have some like visits to different places like galleries, gardens, things like that. Depends what your project's on. Maybe just sit by a station and draw people. Really depends on your project. This is just some artist research that I've got. This is one of my favourite artists, Joseph Frank, and I think he's Austrian born, and then he moved to Sweden, and I have these sort of patterns all in my grandparents' Swedish summer house, and it just feels very nostalgic, so I did it on that. And try and make your project a bit personal. That's why I'm featuring things like this. Here I've got those patterns that I showed you earlier, but I've photoshopped the colours. Yeah, it's just nice you can revisit things, you can use the same things. Here I've got the patterns again to continue on with the collage. So there's no problem using what you've already got, just to experiment. Here I've just got my plans for a little outcome. Yeah. And then again, I've done the line art like this, and then I've used my textures and patterns to do this. And this is very much like what my bedroom looks like. I mean, you can see the green arch here, but obviously it's not pink, but it is quite similar to my bedroom. And then these are photos from my collage wall. There's the other one. And here's just some more experimentation with different colours and patterns that I like. Sort of more like a mood board than an actual art piece. And here I have more research. So I went to Portugal on holiday, and then I took photos of all the tiles. I think this is what gave me the most inspiration to do more patterns. I want to make my own pattern collection at some point, just because I really like this sort of work. But maybe I should make a video on that actually. So I need to stop saying but whatever. Here I've got different colour swatches and a photo of my parents' bedroom, and then my ideas for my final project. Let's have a look. No, I don't think I have that actual project in here, but do I have a photo? Yeah, that's the little photo. But it's quite big, it's A2, and then I've got different patterns and collage bits. And let's see. Phase 2, what was phase 2? What did I go with? I did patterns within cultures, okay. So I've got a lot of gallery visits here because this was during the summer. So I went to Kettle's Yard in Cambridge, and it's a really nice house of an art collector. So I've just got different paintings and things that I found interesting, like the rugs here as well. This is in Amsterdam, so I went on a school trip to Amsterdam with art, so we drew all of this. If you do go any place interesting, definitely take photos, note it down, draw it. I don't think that's very exciting. Ooh. Here's when I went to London. I actually stumbled across this. It's like a little alleyway here, you can see, where they had these screens and they were just having a kaleidoscope animation. And if you don't know, I do animation right now, and these sort of things really interest me. Patterns and animations, perfect. So this is definitely going in my sketchbook. And then I really like the woman who was part of it with the green. I feel like she just fit the vibe, so I drew her there. Let's see. And then I did a page on nostalgia. So this was in my mum's grandparents' summer house. So it's all the like traditional Swedish patterns. There we go. Again, try and make it a little bit personal. So I looked back at my own family sort of patterns and things. So still linking into what I like and my family. There we go. Yeah, so this is the Museum of Culture in Lund. So I've got different Swedish patterns. And then I've included like maps in here as well. I just quite like to collect things like that. Here I've got a museum in Denmark as well. So clearly I kind of just took inspo from wherever I went, because here I've got more stuff in Amsterdam. And I think even if there's a lot of it, I think it kind of helps me solidify what things I like. And that's really useful for my practice and then figuring out what sort of things I want to make. I would keep track of everything like have a little notebook and keep track of things in everyday life that inspire you, just so you get a better idea of yourself and your own creative practice. This was in Edinburgh when I was going to the open day. It's in the National Museum. I like the different dresses. I like the patterns on them. I think we're sensing a theme here. And then what have I got here? This is Palestinian embroidery. There was an exhibition also in Kettle's Yard in Cambridge, and all the different embroidery meant different things in terms of like social class, and said a lot about what sort of person was wearing them, and I found that quite interesting in how the patterns could tell a story. And then I dug up, this is all ceramics from the back of my garden. My house, a Victorian house, so this is all Victorian pottery. And I came up with some ideas with this, going a bit more abstract, maybe a bit further from what I usually do, but I tried a bit of printmaking and just exploring the different pottery shapes. I actually had a lot of fun with this. I didn't really use it for anything, but I did find it quite fun to try something new, and it was a good idea to learn how to screen print. See, and then I photoshopped them naturally using different colours. What have I got? Yeah, so purple is meant to be like quite a nostalgic colour, and obviously yellow is a happy colour, so I've got things like that. And then I've got some more here. And then I've just got my plan for another outcome. And again, it doesn't have to be that neat, so long as both you and your teacher can understand what's going on, that's perfectly fine. Here we go. Here was the plan, and I printed it, and then I used this to make a animation of the plates breaking. As you can see, I've just got the frames in there. I do think like my themes or like my ideas were a bit weak at times. I mainly just wanted to practice animation. I think you can kind of tell through my projects, but I think if I went back, I would definitely like plan out more why I was doing my project, if that makes sense, like what my intentions were behind the project rather than just learning new skills. But I did find it very useful saying that, so you know, take what you will. But I think the teachers would have probably preferred it if I had a bit more of a plan. But as you can see, I do have an awful lot of experimentation and pattern making, so I've been quite consistent with that. There's another physical pattern which I will show you in another video how to make. I might actually have one from like ages ago, maybe go back and check. Here's in the Tate Modern, just some more patterns. This was another school trip, I think. Yeah, and then I have some studies just of light and shadow. Ooh. Can I flip this? Yeah. And then these were a lot bigger, so I just photographed them and scanned them in. And I have more. And then even more studies just of different objects. Don't really know what I was trying to go for here. And then I have a little photo shoot, and then some of the fabric that I was using in the drawings. I just thought it'd make more sense for people to visualize it if I had that in there. And then I have my final outcome planning again, and as you can see, it's not that neat, the actual thing, but I understand what's going on, and that's the main thing. And then I have my bullet points, like what I wanted to do, and my planned out print, because I was making a reduction print, so I needed to know which layers I've got. And then also I've got a little Illustrator mock-up of what my repeating pattern was going to look like. I think that's it for that sketchbook. I'll just show you the other one. So I have the first, I just printed each layer of my reduction prints. Oh, they've sort of stuck together, so okay, that's a better page. There you can see how I repeated them, because I digitally manipulated the reduction prints and then made them into a pattern. See? And here I just wanted to explore the darkroom, to be honest. So I just did some darkroom photography with different newspapers. See? And then I have them as collages. There we go. So I've got different layers, just seeing what worked and what didn't. So obviously this does not look good, but I was just experimenting. So I put in the good and the bad in my final sketchbook. And here I like to use a colour just to show what sort of movement is happening. I find it really useful just when planning. And there I've just got more Photoshop experiments and showing, this is also me showing what I'm actually doing digitally, because I thought my teacher wouldn't really understand everything I was doing digitally, because mainly A-levels is quite traditional, you do a lot of painting, but you can do whatever you want. So I just wanted to talk through like exactly how I layered the patterns, what I was doing, to show that I didn't just happen, it didn't just all happen, it didn't, like I actually put an effort to make these things digitally, and I just wanted to explain that to my teacher. And I think that's quite useful for anyone watching, is explain your process properly, just so it's really, really easy for anyone to follow, even if they've never seen your project before. So that's what I've got. And then that's like all my raw photos and how I edited them. So as you can see, this is just me again showing my process, and then my setup for my actual animation that's projected onto the wall. I'm going to pause that there, and then I will show you my final outcomes. For my second component, I did a sort of kaleidoscopic bug animation sort of thing, where this is like my research pages, and I think my school still has some of these, so I'm not going to be able to show you everything, and also I'm not going to include the animation here. You can check out my website for that, shameless self-promo, but please do go check out my website. It has all my updated artwork on there, and also you can email me there for commissions. And here I've just got those reduction prints I was showing you earlier, but this is more sustainable and this is for my final outcome. And essentially what I did is I took these layers, cleaned them up in Photoshop and combined them like this, and then I had a few different bugs and I animated them sort of in a formation like this, in a kaleidoscope, and they're all spinning around and overlapping, and that was all in After Effects. And I mean, I did this obviously because I'm doing animation now. I knew I'd apply to do animation and I wanted to practice my skills. So I'd say definitely, if you can, try and make your project towards your career goals. It's just more useful to learn the techniques as you're going along. Like, obviously you want to develop skills for your future career. That makes sense. So I really like these just on their own. If you want to see my show reel, so my updated animations currently, that's on my website. And if you want to stay up to date with like my photographs and any sketchbook work, check out my Instagram. And I think that's it for now. I hope that was a little bit inspiring. Hopefully I think I went quite quick, but hopefully you took something away from it. Stay tuned, I'm going to be posting a lot more videos here, so thank you. Also, let me know if this mic was okay for now.